Hello, you're all very welcome to the second episode of a Celtic Soul podcast with me, Andrew Milne. Thanks to everybody who tuned in to the first episode. The response has been very positive. Later in the show, I will be joined by the original Holy Goalie, John Fallon from Lockdown in Glasgow. But first up, I spoke with Frank Nockenbockoff, a Borussia Dortmund and Celtic fan based in Germany. I'm joined now by Frank Nockenbockoff, and I hope I pronounced it right, Frank.
Well done, Milne. Well done.
Frank's a Dortmund fan and also has more than a liking for Celtic.
That's absolutely true, yes.
Frank, the reason why I got you on the show, obviously the Bundesliga is ahead of everybody, and they're now playing behind closed doors. Just what's the story with it?
Well, to be honest, good opinions about that all around here. Well, there's a big discussion going on if the league should restart or not, and I think most of the population in Germany say it should not, because there's more important things than football at the moment. But then again, I think it became more of a business matter. Well, the German FA and the league finally took the decision and asked the government to allow it, and they did. They have made a plan how to isolate the players, test them, and I think the plan's pretty good, and hopefully will work. But still, I'm not quite sure it's the right thing to do. But in the end, we started it now. It's the first 3 games are played, and to be honest, it's a dull affair. Football without the fans is definitely different, and not for everyone. Not for me.
Frank, whereabouts are you in Germany with the lockdown as a civilian?
I'm living in a small town not far away from Dortmund, about 30, 40 miles from Dortmund, based in Fallon. Probably never heard of that. And it's in the Dortmund area, and I'm spending most of the time at home now. Only working 2 days a week currently. Many are only working part-times at the moment due to the lockdown, and spending time at home. Yeah.
And are there any bars open or cafes or?
The bar's actually opened, I think about a week ago. So you can go to a bar, pub, or cafe now, but it's very much restricted in terms of social distancing.
Okay.
I will keep track of who's been there and stayed how long, and you're not allowed to go to the bar and have to wait to be seated and sit at a certain table. You're not allowed to run around without wearing a mask, and staff will wear a mask. Well, it's not much fun anyway. Restrictions
have been lifted slightly, but the general public are still working from home and being advised to stay at home, yeah?
Stay at home, wear a face mask when going shopping, and keep a distance of at least 1.5 meters to everyone. Don't meet in larger groups, of course.
And have any players tested positive since the restart?
They have, yes. Even before the restart, we had a couple of positive tests. I think it was FC Cologne. We had a player or two who went into isolation then, and I think the biggest case was Dynamo Dresden. They had the whole team being isolated after a couple of players tested positive, and they missed the first 2 games now in the second Bundesliga.
So they'll have to replay that game at a later date.
And if that does happen more often, we're getting real trouble, I think, with getting this finished at all.
It just seems bad. And what was it like, the first Dortmund game, watching on TV?
A pretty dull affair, to be honest. It was like watching a training session or a youth game on a Sunday morning or something like that. So that was kind of boring and very dull, to be honest. And
how many games is left?
That should be another 8 games now.
And how many games are they playing a week? 2, is it?
It's 2 this week, and I'm not sure about next week, but it should be 2 most of the time, I think. Yeah.
So when do they hope to finish the league?
I think July, before July, I think.
And then what's the plan to restart?
They don't have one yet.
No.
We're currently still hoping to get that done at all. Still have a cup final to play. Plenty of other things to organise, I think. So
cup final as well.
Oh yeah,
it's a crazy time, Frank. And I suppose money and business is driving this.
Absolutely. It's all about the TV money. The clubs don't rely on the ticket money or merchandise money or anything. It's simply the TV money. If they had stopped the league, they would not have got the full amount of TV money, and probably not all clubs would have survived that. So I think that was the driving force behind it. Yeah.
Right. So and even in the second division, where our friends from St. Pauli are, would they still be able to stay in business with it without the fans and merchandise and stuff like that?
Well, it's hard to say, to be honest. I'm not quite sure about the club situation there, but many are complaining, and I think, especially in the second division and in the third, that's a massive problem. If they did not go on, I think some would really struggle to survive, but that might happen anyway.
But only the top two divisions are back.
The third one's going to start next weekend.
So, it's kind of a dark place for football fans because, as you said, there's more important things. Football is our get-out clause normally. If things are going bad, you still have the football. But now we don't even have that. They're talking in Scotland about players returning to training in late June, which looks like it could happen. Obviously, Frank, you have a passion for Celtic as well as Dortmund. When I look at the Dortmund fans on match day, to create some atmosphere in there. So, I don't know how it would affect the players.
I'm pretty sure it does. So, I think it depends. The players we're playing on a high technical standard. Probably don't need the support as much as the ones that come from fighting and emotion, and need the support, need the songs and the shouting and everything. But I think it pretty much affects the whole game, more or less to an extent for each individual player. But football without the fans, well, no.
Frank, I can't have you on the show, but without telling the listeners how you became interested in Celtic and your journey, because I bumped into you once or twice on a night out in Glasgow.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely true, yeah, as far as I can remember. Well, that's a long story. To cut it short, I have been a supporter of Borussia Dortmund for a while, and it was my first international trip, first European trip in 1987 that first got me to Glasgow. Celtic played Borussia. And, well, the welcome we received was just phenomenal. It was friendly people all over. And that was not what you expected at that time in the 1980s when you go into away games or games abroad, usually. So that was very special, and the same happened again in '92 when I played in the UEFA Cup again. So I met a couple of great people in Glasgow, or other people from Ireland as well, of course, over the years, and became friends. And, well, I became a Celtic supporter there myself immediately, and continued that for more than 30 years now. So I've seen some amazing games and European away trips, European nights at Celtic Park, games against the Huns, of course. Well, that's really pretty much sums it up there. Yeah.
And of course, a few people have followed you back to Dortmund because there's some of the Celtic boys are now going to see Dortmund.
That's true. I think it was about 8 or 9 years ago when we had created a wee Facebook group. Originally planned to organise occasional trips to Glasgow for a small number of friends from Dortmund. They have a soft spot for Celtic as well, and well, that took off to a dimension that's absolutely unbelievable. I think it's 600 people in that group now, and it has become an unofficial CSC in Dortmund as well now, and people from Ireland, Scotland, many other places coming to visit us in Dortmund, and meeting up with them in Glasgow or on European away trips, and become a great community.
The Tremonia boys.
That's the Tremonia boys, CSC, yes.
And while we have a mention, Frank, I'd like to thank you and the boys over there for supporting the fanzine. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Much appreciated, especially at these hard times. No games to sell at.
Keep up the good work there, yeah.
Cheers, Frank. Well, Frank, it was just great to get you on because we're getting mixed reports from Jeremy about the games behind closed doors. I spoke to Joe Miller earlier, and Joe has a soft spot for St. Pauli, and he commented that he found it a bit strange that the players on the pitch are not wearing masks, but the subs are wearing masks, and then they go on. So that was his observation. He was probably of the same opinion as you. You know, it's a bigger picture here, and there's more important things than football. But I also spoke to Michael Pringle, who's a Glasgow-based journalist and an ultra, and I spoke to Michael, and Michael said, you know, football without fans is nothing. He says, but you know what, fans without football, you know, we need something. So he was kind of on a different opinion that maybe watching it behind closed doors on TV was better than nothing. So there's a mixed. There's a mixed, I suppose, batch. People really want to get back to the football, but maybe we get back quicker if we take our time.
That might be true, yeah. I think people who usually attend the games inside the grounds are longing to go back there and don't really like the games behind closed doors, while the armchair supporters are sitting in their living room are probably happy with getting games at all. So to see that all the organised fan and supporters groups and the ultras, not just in Dortmund or all over Germany, are pretty much not for those games behind closed doors. We don't really like that. But I think it's better than nothing, yeah. And it's probably the business necessity. Otherwise, you might not have a Bundesliga at all next year, or just 10 teams or something. So.
But Dortmund would still be there because Dortmund are one of the big ones.
I hope so, yeah. Well, probably the Dortmund and Bayern Munich should be surviving that. Well, there's other teams, I can't see them coming through that without getting the TV money.
Yeah, which is a fair point as well, Frank.
Yeah, which should make us think about the whole business in general, maybe. Yeah.
Okay, Frank. It's been obviously a privilege to speak to you. Always nice to talk to someone who was the inside information on the German game. Frank, thanks a million, and we'll talk soon, and hopefully we'll grab a point in Glasgow or even in Dortmund.
I hope so. See you soon.
Cheers, Frank. Thanks to Frank there for the insight into the German football return, and we know now what we can expect when Scottish football returns sometime in August. And next up now we'll be talking to the legend himself, Mr. John Fallon. Everybody will know John from being a part of the Lisbon Lions. He was also part of the original 9 in a row where he won 6 titles with Celtic, a treble winner. His list of honours goes on and on. And John has also been ever present in the stands for this 9 in a row. I'm delighted to be joined by my old mate John Fallon, the original holy goalie at Celtic. Long before Arthur was blessing himself, this man was blessing himself, swinging out of goal posts and generally being a nuisance to the opposition and annoying their fans as well, which is always a good sign, John. Always endear yourself to the home fans. John, you're very welcome along. How are you keeping?
I'm keeping fine, Andrew. No complaints.
How's this lockdown?
It's like being in Kilmaine in jail and you can't get
out. John, great times. 9 in a row.
Brilliant.
Did you ever think you'd see it again?
Well, in the last few years, I was very confident because the way things was going, we were going up and the rest was going back, and it looked good, and it looks good for 10. But we've been greedy. I'm looking for the baker's dozen, 13 in a row. As long as we just keep going on and on and on.
Well, we'll take 10 for now. I think the 9 was a monkey off Lennon's back.
It was. You know,
I think it was under an awful lot of pressure to deliver that.
But this was the hardest one. It's always going to be the hardest one. You know, to equal a record is very difficult. We've done it, but now to break it is even. I think next year, as long as we stay strong, we'll do 10. I can see us doing maybe 11.
I think we need John. We need Peter Lawwell and the board to be on game on this, because we need to keep this squad together and maybe add one or two.
Yes, I think Peter's very shrewd. Peter's very quiet, and all of a sudden he comes up with some players. There was somebody mentioned today, a Croatian centre-back, but is that speculation? Now, this is the time of the year, Andrew, where these agents start punting players. We can see it with Cham. Is it in the newspapers with the agent trying to bum? They're trying to sell their players. But I've already had a few words with certain people. Why are you in a strong position? You don't weaken. You strengthen. You always strengthen your team from it. We're in a strong position, so we strengthen. We make ourselves stronger. We make ourselves better. Not any better. We're playing well. It's a G up to the players that are there, not to get lackadaisical.
There is players, John, pushing the players this year. Like we had fierce competition in the middle of the park.
Yes, but elsewhere we've got to look. You've got to look elsewhere. Maybe somebody else up front. Bring another centre forward in just to give two men a wee. At times, Edward gives you that lazy look. He comes up with these impressive goals. Ben Dembele. This is where you need a wee jig. Give them a fright.
Yeah.
Give them a fright.
Keep them on their toes.
Yeah, you've got to keep them on their toes. So that's how you always strengthen. When you're a strong team, you strengthen, you don't weaken.
And John, going back, because you played in the first 9 in a row. I think when we spoke off, you six.
Six.
You'd have a 6 of the seasons. What season stands out for you?
69.
That was the treble year.
That was the treble year when we won it within, 5 weeks. We won a league game. We beat Hibs in this League Cup. And then we played Rangers. We beat them 4-0. But they won it in such a close... But we won it, and it feels better when you won it like that. 3 trophies within 5 weeks, which was great, and especially when you beat them with 4-0, the opposition.
And the opposition, John, there was an awful lot of competition then, and like any season to do a treble is unbelievable, and that team was on the run to 9. But John, there's 2 things that stick out between both 9 in a row eras. And that was the captain. The captain never changed. Big Billy for you and Scott Brown for the new crop.
Yeah.
2 different players. One a cool head and one more, I suppose, aggressive.
Yeah, well, Billy was calm. Bruni was aggressive. He was more like when you look at Bruni, he was more of a winner, where Billy was just calm. Give you a wee shout. But if you watch Billy in the games, he'd give you a wee clap his hands and just say something. He wasn't shouting about where Bruni has got to get into the mix. Bruni, but you're talking about 2 different positions, because Bruni has got to be in the engine room, middle of the park. Bruni, I compare him to Bobby Murdoch in the middle of the park, a worker, and the engine of the team, urging the team on. And then later on we had Davy Hay coming into the team and doing the same thing.
Well, that's high comparisons there. 2 great players to compare Scott to.
Well, he had the 3 of them got the same willingness to win, not accept defeat. We done that. We wouldn't accept defeat. We'd fight to the end. That's another thing that's in the Celtic makeup. How many times does Celtic over the years never give in, because we'll fight to the end and win? Well, last minute goals. We've done a lot of last minute goals as well. It's just part of the Celtic makeup. Aggression, win the game fair. The usual. They try to say Bruni's dirty, but he's not dirty. He's aggressive. Bruni would be a great player in our days when the tackles were coming in.
He would have loved that.
He would have loved that. He'd have loved it. And where Billy, as I said, calm. Just calm. And Bruni is aggressive. There's a big difference, It's like milk and cheese, just 2 different people. But two good captains. They're two great captains.
John, before we let you go, how impressed have you been with Neil Lennon? It was very tough. That 9 was very tough, and now he has to push on for 10.
Well, his first stage, when he first had the job there, it was difficult times when he was first here. He went down south, and I don't know if you don't get Scottish media, there's got Scottish papers, but there's the usual having a wee dig at him, being a flop, down south. But he came up to Hibs and he proved himself at Hibs. He brought Hibs into a good team again. And then he came over to Celtic Park. In all fairness, he came in and he's sort of just carried on for Brendan off. Brendan introduced us. The last four managers have done great for us. Strachan, Ronnie, Brendan, and Lenny. We've just progressed gradually through the four managers. And it's been great to see. And this is what, it's the Celtic. They've just played now the new Celtic way. Always played football. Always attack. Never give in. But Lenny had that same aggression as well in the field. When things went, Lenny got mixed in. He liked to mix up. He's bringing it into the team now as well. I don't know who he's going to bring in for Damien Duff. I don't know if we need MD. He may recruit from within. Well, I don't see where. I'll be honest. Coach to stick out now. Nope, I don't see where, unless he pulls a quickie somewhere. But I don't see it. Well, time will tell, John. John, listen, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. I hope we'll get you back on the show soon. No problem, big man. And I look forward to a brandy shandy with you when we get back over. Excuse me, could you move a wee bit to the right? You're hiding my photo. Just as well it's only audio, John, and we can't see it. Right, no problem. As I said, John, thanks a million. And hail, hail. Hail, hail. Cheers. I'd like to thank Frank and John for joining me on today's show, and I would like to say a special thanks to this episode's sponsors, Grove Engineering, based in Tala, Dublin. Big shout out to Joe and Jay for helping us out. Don't forget, folks, to visit our website, CelticFanzine.com, where you will find daily news and articles on all things Celtic, and you'll also be able to check out the fanzine. And I'd like to thank everybody who bought the recent issue 109, and you can also download the digital edition. All details are on the website, and we also have a new range of merchandise coming out later this week, so log in and check out our online shop. And please follow us on social media, where you can find us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Coming up in the next episode, I will be talking to Glasgow-based journalist Michael Pringle, and also talking to Tommy Johnson, former Celtic striker, who was Tommy Bourne's last signing. This podcast was produced by my good friend, Roland McQuillan. Well, folks, thanks very much for listening again. The plan going forward is to do 2 episodes a week, so we can stay up to date with the goings on and the comings in and out of Celtic Park during the break. Celtic will return to training on the 11th of June, and then the plan for Scottish football is to resume on the 1st of August, I would imagine behind closed doors. And don't forget, folks, please spread the word and tell your friends about the podcast. Keep the faith, and more importantly, stay safe.